Got it. And if you take any analytics project, the commonly performed task is the group by the data analyst. Okay, so they do the aggregation. Why do we need to use group by? We need to perform aggregation. Aggregation or summarization, these two terms are interchangeably used by many data analysts or data scientists. Both of them are same. Okay, the aggregation, summarization, these two terms are same. Remember this. Okay. The reason is when you talk to the US customer, they may use these terms interchangeably. Okay, you should not get confused. You should not, misinterpret. Aggregation is different from summarization. These two terms are same. In order to perform aggregation or summarization, we have to use group by in SQL query. The same thing we can do it in, in Power Query Editor also. Okay, now the question is, what is group by first of all? Okay, what is group by? So, and if you are familiar with SQL queries, you must have done the group by, right? So group by is nothing but grouping the rows that have the similar values to get the summarized data. For example, okay, you have something like this data set. So this is the data set given to you. Which data set? The country, here. 1 second, let me. So this one I'm talking about, the country, region, quantity, sales. This is the data set given to you. And you need to do group by based on the country. Okay, so here if you see the United States, it is repeating it multiple times. Obviously, if you take the order transaction data in your company, so, in United States, at different time, different people, they've ordered the products, right? The United States, if you look at United States in the South region itself, there are maybe two customers, they have ordered they raised two different orders, okay? Hence, two records are appearing here. So, United States, and if you see how many number of records are there, 4 records have United States related transaction. And all the management wants to see the reporting requirement is they don't want to see the transaction level data. Instead, they wanted to summarize the data, one-liner data. You tell me in United States how many units we sold in total, how much sales we made in total. You give me that. Don't give me the transaction level itemized, the transaction level detail. I don't need it. Instead, you give me something like this. In the United States, how much sales we made, okay, in total, okay, this is what they needed. And if you see here, the United States, and if I grouping the similar rows or grouping the rows with similar values. So if you see here, United States, these rows are having similar values. When you perform group by, what happens based on the country column, it groups all the rows that have the similar values in the country column. United States, in this case, it groups all the values and then it applies the sum. In this case, for example, sum is an aggregation function. What other aggregation functions are available? All of you, please type it in the chat window so that we can make it more interactive. Yes, you are correct. Swarna says sum function, average function, min function, very good. Max function. How about others? Yes, the count function, right? So these are the aggregation functions or the summarization function that are available. So in this case, what happens? Let's assume that we are using sum function, aggregation function, group by sum on quantity and sales. So in that case, all the United States related records got grouped, something like this. So we have 4 records. 4 records have similar values in the country, hence it grouped it separately, and then it applies the sum on the quantity as well as the sales. And if you add these values here, 5 plus 5, 10, 10 plus 8, 18, right? So we can see that 18, the value 18 here, with the 18. Similarly, it applied the sum on the sales column. So it gives me this one, 23,138. It is that much simple. Okay. And similarly, Australia. Australia, all the Australia records got grouped together, and Germany records grouped together separately, and New Zealand data got separately in the memory. Okay, behind the scene, this is what is happening. Okay, when you use group by sum on quantity, comma sum on sales, group by country. This is what is happening behind the scene. And finally, this is the final output. This is the final output. So if you see Australia, for each country, you have only one record. And here you can see the summarized values, total sales, how much we made, the total sales in each country, and total units, how much we sold in each country. We can see that. This is what group by is all about. In this case, you have done a group by on only country column. Supposing you wanted to do the group by based on the combination of column, more than one column. Let's say your manager is okay with this report, but he wants to see another report wherein he wants to see the combination of country and region, the group by country and region. He wants to see that. So in that case, you need to use country and region in the group by, and in that case, what will happen is the United States South. Okay, and these two records will get grouped together. And so, right, so 5 plus 5 is 10, and 8764 plus 4, almost 13,000 and odd, right? The United States and South. In this case, the similar rows will get grouped based on the combination of country and region column. United States and South, United States and South. It'll combine these two values, and then it does the aggregation. In that case, what will be United States West is different. United States South is different. United States East is different. Okay, so that is the reason why we can see three different records: United States East and United States East and United States West and South. If you see here, with the combination of United States and South, we have two records. Hence, it grouped these two values together. And then it is not repeating the record again. Okay, it gives me total 10. 5 plus 5 is 10, and total this is 13,000 and odd. Okay, so this is in this case the group by we did it based on two columns. Okay, similarly you can do group by with the combination of more than one column, but there are limitations with the Power Query Editor group by. Okay, so I'm talking about the Power Query Editor group by, and the same thing you can do it with the SQL query also. Okay, group by. But the difference is in the case of Power Query Editor, the limitations. When it comes to limitation, you cannot perform custom aggregations. Okay, unless unlike your SQL group by, in the case of Power Query Editor, it does not support custom aggregation functions. Okay, you cannot use custom aggregation functions, and also you have a limited join capabilities. Okay, with Power Query Editor. Okay, if you want to perform joins after grouping, okay, you need to use additional steps to combine group data with other tables. Okay, but in the case of SQL, it offers us a more seamless way to join data within a single query itself. But here it is not like that. See, the simple example is, I just write it here. For example, I wanted to see select a region and sales or sum of sales. And here I want to use something like within the bracket, select sum of or listen, select region comma sales. Select sum of sales from my sales table. Okay, and so these are all single query. Okay, in the select query itself, right? In the select list itself, you can specify the column names. This is a common thing. You can specify the query also from sales table. Okay, so in the and sales group by, you can do something like group by region or something like that. Okay, or if you do it this itself, what will happen is, so it will display in each region the transaction level, how much sales we made. So day to day, right? So today itself, North region, we got 4 orders, 4 records will be there for sales. And along with that, it gives me the total sales. Total sales, so that you can compare side by side. What is the total sales? Or the total sales, how much sales we made in North region, in each region, each transaction, you can compare with the totals. If you want to display the totals along with the transactional record, that is possible with this. But this kind of flexibility, you will not have it when you use Power Query Editor. Then why should I use Power Query Editor? Okay, why should I use Power Query Editor? Not all the time we'll be using SQL queries. Sorry, the RDBMS data, right? Or we are not using the tables. There are situations you might have to use the Excel files or JSON files, right? In that case, if you want to perform group by, so in that, those kind of situation, the Power Query Editor is helpful. But in the real world scenario, practically saying, most of the data are available in SQL Server itself. The volume of the data are very huge. Hence, we use direct query mode only. Okay. But there are cases, let's say, your manager asks you or gives you some data. He gets from some region and he talks to some other region manager. He gets the data and he send it to you. Do some kind of analysis. Okay. He wants you to perform some kind of ad hoc analysis. So in that kind of situation, the Power Query Editor is really helpful. But it is not as flexible as your SQL query. Okay, SQL query you can do a lot of things. Okay, but here you cannot do all these kind of things. You can use correlated subquery. You can perform the non-correlated subquery. Everything you can do it. Okay, in the group by itself you can use it, but those things you cannot use it here. Okay, that is the one thing you should remember, the limitations. So what are the limitations? This one, no custom aggregations. You cannot perform custom and the limited join capabilities. Okay. And group by columns with null values. And in the case of Power Query Editor, the group by, it does not handle null values in columns as expected. Okay. So you need to handle, these kind of things separately in your data cleaning process. Okay. And in the case of SQL group by SQL query, right? SQL query, the group by has more robust handling of null values, but here it is not. Okay. These are the things you should be aware of it. The limitation. The interview, they'll ask you all these questions. Okay. And okay. And also there are two different types of or three different types of group by operations we can perform. Okay, and okay, one is you can aggregate a column by using aggregate function like sum function or average function, or also you can perform a row operation. Okay, these are the two types of group by operations we can perform. Okay, so now I jump into Power Query, Power BI desktop, and then I will show you with an example. Okay, here. Yes, Swarna, I will talk about this. Swarna's question is, what is fuzzy grouping? We'll discuss that, don't worry. Okay. But that is a good feature that is available in Power BI Desktop. Okay. AGC sales.csv. I'm going to load this data into Power BI Desktop. And here we can see the preview window. So US, Australia, and US, instead of East, they mentioned E here. E is East region and W is West region. Everything is fine. But we can quickly find out some data consistency related issues. If you see US, the country ID, that has been consistently mentioned as US across the rows, except this row. And in this case, an additional S has been typed. There is a typo here. Okay, there is a typo here. If you have, but ideally, this USS is, this is nothing but US. Ideally, they should have typed it as US. Somehow, an additional S, got included here. So in that case, what will happen is all the 3 US records will get grouped together if you perform group by based on the country ID column. But this one is not same as US. This one will be considered as a separate country, okay, separate group. So in that kind of situation, what will happen, when you look at the report, it will not give you the accurate data, accurate values, okay? Because since there is a this is called data consistency related issues, because the values are not the same, values are used differently. US supposed to be used in almost all the rows of the US, but somewhere they mentioned USS. There is a mistake, or USA. They mentioned USA, and somewhere else they used US. So in that case, there will be issue with the data. Okay, it will downplay your sales performance, isn't it? So it will take into account of only the records that are having the similar values US, and it will group it together, and then it perform the aggregation on the quantity and sales, but it will ignore this record. Obviously, when you look at the US sales, you can see, there is a dip in your sales and quantity. Okay, actually the reality is this value should have been included, right? It will not include it because of this inconsistency value. You have it, but you need to address it. Oh, very simple, right? You can replace USS by US. You can do it. But at this moment, we are yet to load the data. I'm going to hit the load. So while previewing the data as well, we could see there are some issues with the data. First, we will load the data, and then we will see what we can do. Here, on the right side, just beneath the data, you can see the AG sales. If you expand this, by clicking on this icon, you can see the country heading. Will directly jump to the data view, and then we will take a look at what values are there here. The same as the preview window, right? In this case, the number of records are less. Obviously, whatever we have seen it as per the preview window, the same we can see it here. So the same thing, okay? The USS is there. So obviously, if you replace this value as US, your problem, your headache is gone, right? So all the US records will get grouped. So for example, I'm going to click on the transform data to open the Power Query editor. That is where you can do the group by. And here I'm going to select the transform ribbon. Click on the transform ribbon. And this is the query AGG sales. Okay, USS. Okay, and if I don't address this issue by replacing USSs by US, what is going to happen? Okay, that is what we are going to see. And how do I do group by? In the transform ribbon, you can see group by. I'm going to hit this. I can group by. It open up a separate window here, and here we can see the basic and advanced. So we'll explore advanced little later. At this moment, look here, the country, do group by on country ID, and then the new column name, total quantity. Okay, and operation, what kind of operation you want to perform? Sum, average, median, minimum, maximum, very well. Median is the middle value. Count rows gives you the total number of records, and count distinct rows, it will give you the unique values. Okay, while counting it, it will give you the unique values. All rows is little bit different. That is what I said when I started with the group by, in the PowerPoint. So there are two types of group by you can perform. One is the common one, right? The traditionally how we do the same way. The all rows will give you, the little bit different way of group by. That we will explore a little later. For the time being, I'm going to select sum function. Sum on which column? Obviously, either the numeric columns, right? Quantity or sales, not on these columns and quantity. Okay. I'm going to hit OK now. It gives me the total quantity that we sold in US, in Australia, Germany, and look here, even in Germany, we have some inconsistency values are there. Germany 20 and G 60, New Zealand 13 and USS. Because of the data related issues, so the interview they'll ask you what kind of data related issues, what kind of challenge that you post. The data related issues. Tell me some scenarios, or tell me the scenarios where you post data related. What kind of data? Inconsistent. There are some cases we found duplicate records. There are some cases we found inconsistency. Because of the inconsistency, we could see duplicate records. Okay, and so these are the data issues. Now what we will do is we can see that in US 13 and Australia 17, New Zealand 13 and US is 5. Actually, this 5 should have been added with this 13, right? And similarly, GRG, the 60, 20 plus 20 should have been added with 60, 80. There are some issues here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo this operation by click on the cross mark, and I'm going to address this issue first. I'm going to select the country ID, right click on it, replace values, USS by US. Next one is the GR or G. Either you can replace basically hit OK now. And you can see that G, right? Now it got replaced successfully. Okay, good. Now if you do the group by, it makes sense. And I'm going to click on the group by, and this time I'm going to say total units sold, some function, or you can use average also. Okay. And sales, and yes, I'm going to, or for example, you want to click on advanced, you can add additional address, average units sold. Okay, average units sold. So here the average, you can select average on the quantity. Sorry, here the sales I mentioned, right? Okay, I just select quantity. Okay. Now all the US related records got grouped together, and the Germany related records also got grouped. You remember 20 and 60, we saw that, right? In GR record, we saw 60, and G we saw 20, right? So now 80, it got grouped together. Okay. So now we don't see any data related issues. Now we address the data inconsistency related issues. And then when we do the group by, it makes sense. Okay. So this is the total units we sold, on average units we sold. We can see that. Next one is, I'm going to just reference this one. I'm going to take the same thing here. Okay, not reference this thing. What I will do is I will just delete this. I'm going to duplicate this. But as I told you, don't ever try duplicate unless there is a clarity. Okay. So if you are very clear, then you can do duplicate. Okay. Duplicate will consume too much of memory. Look here, in this case, group. Now we will go ahead and explore how we can perform group by based on more than one column. I'm going to add another column here, country ID and region. Country ID and region. Okay. And the same thing, I'm going to hit OK. So US East region, you can see 7, average is 3.5. And Australia East region, 12 and 6.5. Look here, Australia and the East. So in this case, I have used the group by. Look here, I just show you one more time. country ID and region. Based on the combination of country ID region, you group the by similar values. In that case, US East region and GE East region is separate, and say the South region is separate. So with the combination of these two, it gives me the aggregated values. Okay, and next what I do is I just go here, click on, I am going to make a change here. I'm going to add one more aggregation. And here I just say transaction level. Okay, data. And here I just do the all rows. That's all. In the case of all rows, you will not be able to select anything. It will get disabled. Okay, the column. Okay, so because it is all rows. Okay, and I'm going to hit OK now. Look here, the transaction level data column have table in it. Instead of values like this East 7.5, we can see table here. If you click somewhere next to the table, at the bottom you can see that what made up the value 7 here. These two transactions made up the value 7 here. Look here, in US East region, there are two records are there. In that case, it grouped the US East region, and then it added these two values. 5 plus 2 is 7, and 8,000 plus 8,007. These two values put together. You will get. But here we did not use sales here. Okay. What I will do is I'm going to modify this one. I'm going to click on the wheel icon next to the group rows, and I'm going to add the total sales also here for our verification. Okay, and sum of sales. Here the sales column, and I'm going to hit OK now. Total sales. 1 second. It is not. It is showing here, and I just move this somewhere next to the total install. Okay. You can drag and drop the columns wherever you want it. That is possible here. And if you see here 8,760 plus 2,500, how much? 10, 11,000 and odd. So it gives me the same thing here. Okay. But don't click on the table. Just next to the table, if you click on it. So there are two transactions happen in Australia East region itself. And in Germany, you will see how many records. Only one record is there. And the country ID, the Germany East region, only one transaction happened. But whereas if you see here in Germany, two records are there, grouped records. Okay. In this case, Germany East region, two transaction happened. It did the sum on the total unit side. Okay. And whereas in the case of Germany South region, only one record is there, it shows like this. Okay. And if you scroll towards the right side, and if you see this one here, you can see this arrow icon, right? Double arrow icon. If you click on this, it will open up everything here. What you can do is you can display, this transaction data, US East region, along with the aggregated value also. Okay. Sometimes they wanted to see the breakup. Okay. You mentioned about the US East region. We sold 7 units. So is it possible for you to display the transaction, the transactional data, itemized, detail along with the summarized value? That is also possible here. So for that purpose, we are using this one. Here, I'm going to unselect. I don't need everything, and all I need is quantity and sales. That's all. I'm going to region also for our verification purpose. We'll be using it. So now, if you scroll towards the right side, you can see that US East region, two records are there. And look here on the right side, in US East region, one transaction and customers bought 2, and another customer bought 5 units. 5 plus 2, 7. So along with the transaction data, if you want the summary data, that is possible here. Okay. Yeah. So Swarna, okay. Swarna's question is, yes, you said you cannot display the total transactional data along with the transactional data. You cannot display the summary data. That is possible, but if you wanted to write nested subqueries, that is not possible here. Okay. That is what I meant. Got it? Yes. Okay. This is what row operation. Okay, the row perform row operation. There are two types of group by. One is the typical group by, grouping the values, grouping the records that have the similar values. That is the common SQL-like query that group by we do it. And apart from this, this is very specific to Power Query Editor. You have perform rows, group by perform rows. So in that case, what happens is you see the detailed transaction along with the summarized values. Okay. That's all. This is pretty simple. And I'm going to save this as group. I'm going to close and apply this. Save as, here I will say group by. And Power Query. Okay. Next one is we have something else called fuzzy grouping. So what is fuzzy grouping? So what happens is in the real world, like we have seen it, right? There are scenarios. The different values are used to specify the same region. In the case of the country ID, we have seen there are some data consistency related issues. Like instead of specifying US, they mentioned USS. So in that case, if you perform group by, what will happen is it will consider USS as a separate record. The rest of the USS related records, US related records, separate group. Okay. But actually, the reality is you want to combine the USS also along with the US records. Got it? Are you all with me or not? See, we replace the USS by US, right? That is what we did it. And I just go here. Yes, you are following me, right? Good. So in that case, I don't want to take, I don't want to repeat it again. So look here. So that is what we did. I just go back here. Currently, we are in report view, AGG sales. And I hit the home ribbon, transform data, and hit the transform data again. Here you can see the Power Query Editor. Later point in time, if you want to refer it back, what operation that you did it, you just start with the source. Click on source. This is the data file that we loaded it. It automatically promoted the headers. The second row got promoted as column headers, country, region. And if you click on the change type, it assigned the data type on its own. So the first three steps carried out by Power Query Editor itself. And then what we did, replace value. We replaced what value? Look here, you can see you replace the USS by US. And then the GER, right? So we replace the GR by GE. This is what we carried out. And then we did the grouped operations. Okay. And if you want to take a look at, based on what columns we did the group by everything, click on the wheel icon next to the group rows step. It will open up the dialog box. This is where you can see, what are the, operate that you did the group by on country ID column only. And then some function used, average function used on the quantity column. Okay. But here, in this case, we have to replace the USS by US manually. Okay. And also here, you have to replace the GR by GE. This is fine if I have millions of records. It is difficult to find. There could be chances you might miss out some data considerations related issues. Okay. Before you perform group by operation, make sure that the values are also consistent. The consistency, completeness, also important. Okay. For example, they gave you the data. You know very well in US, they operate in 4 different regions: North, East, South, West. But when you look at this data set, when you do the analysis before you proceed with creating the report, you could see that only 3 regions in US related sales details are available. But whereas in one specific region, it is missing. You need to ask the customer. Okay, you know very well they are operating across 4 different regions in USA. Similarly, other countries. That is called completeness. In case of any missing region, you need to go back and ask them. And once you receive the complete data, which consists of all the 4 regions in USA, then you are supposed to go and proceed with creating the report. This is called related to completeness, data completeness. Second one is the consistency, whether the values are consistent or not in the country ID column, especially the column which you are trying to group it. In this case, the country ID column should have the consistency value. Okay, so here we have replaced the USS by US and GR by G. Fine. But if you have millions of records, you need to scroll down, and then you need to check it out. Or the other alternative, click on the drop down. You need to keep scroll down and see it. It takes a lot of time. And there could be chances that due to oversight, right, you might not have replaced, for example, USS by US. What will happen? It will show wrong value in the case of US related sales and quantity, total quantity, right? So, so in that case, we have something called fuzzy grouping. The fuzzy grouping, what it does is it simply with fuzzy grouping, what you can do is you can set some threshold. You can set some threshold. Okay, and it is very there are like we have seen some variations of data, right? Misspellings or uppercase, lowercase related issues, misspellings. In case of any slight differences in values, you want that value should also group together with the appropriate country ID in this case, right? Even though you have USS, that USS should also be combined with US related records. So how is it possible? That is where the fuzzy grouping is very much helpful. Okay. So I'm going to save this. I will go to the Power BI cloud service. How do I go to the app.powerbi.com? I think my license got expired here. Yeah, still trial. Okay, license type, let it be there. And here, what I will do is I just go to my workspace. So my workspace, this is where Power BI Cloud Service, app.powerbi.com. Once you sign up here, and if you log in here, you will find these icons on the left side in your Power BI Cloud Service. When you click on the My Workspace, and you can see that these are the workspaces that I created it. The workspace is nothing but your folder name. In Windows, you create some folder, right? Somewhat similar to this one. And okay, let me do one thing. I'll click on New here. Okay, my workspace. I just click on the workspace, and I'm going to click on a new workspace here. I just use some. Dev4 sandbox. Okay, I give some meaningful name. Or for example, you have retail. Your project name is Retail Sales Analytics. Track 2. And I'm going to apply this. A new folder, which is nothing but the new workspace, will get created here. Okay. And here, what I am going to do is I am going to new. You have something like data set here. And here, I just click on the CSV. Here also, you can load the data directly here. So look here, AGG sales. CSV file. I'm going to load it directly to my cloud instead of working on my desktop, which is there in my laptop. I directly upload the file on cloud. Okay, so fine. My file got uploaded. Good. And here, what I am going to do is manage settings. Everything is there. Okay, let it be there. And what I am going to do is retail sales analytics. And here I'm going to click on new, and I'm going to click on data flow. This data flow is nothing but the Power Query editor on cloud. That's all, guys. What did I do so far? I created a new folder, in the workspaces, right? I just clicked on the new workspace, and it was asking me the name of the workspace. I mentioned about retail sales analytics track 2. Initially, it was blank. And then what I did, I just clicked on new here, clicked on dataset, and it was asking whether it's Excel file or CSV files. I just select the CSV file, and then I selected the AGG sales.csv file from my laptop. It got uploaded into my Power BI Cloud Service. Got it? The next step is I'm going to click on the down arrow next to the new, and I'm going to click on the data flow. This is nothing but your Power Query editor on cloud. Okay. In this case, the data flow, import, define new tables, link tables from other data flows. Okay, so in this case, okay, I'm going to define new tables, add new tables. Okay, forget about the, see, you don't have to load it, upfront. So this is slightly different way of doing it. So now only I'm going to load the text CSV. In that case, what happens is I'm going to create a link to my local file. Okay, here I'm going to say path d colon dat1 the AGG sales dot cc. So see, remember that we are in Power BI Cloud Service. If you wanted to read any data from your laptop from the Power BI Cloud Service, you need to specify the path name. So what will happen? The Power BI Cloud Service will come to our laptop, and then it read this file. Okay, and this is another way of instead of loading the data, we are telling that, hey, you go and pick up the data from my laptop and then load it into a Power BI Cloud Service. Okay, and the connection, this connection, I already created it. And let me just see that, next button. This connection, how I created, I will show you later. Okay, I'm going to hit the next button. So in this case, what will happen is we need to tell the Power BI Cloud Service, hey, in my laptop, in this folder, this file is available. You need to come and read the data from this file. Okay. And then you need to give the connection. This we will see it later, because if I explain you now, you'll get confused. Okay. I'm going to hit the next button. With this connection detail, Power BI Cloud Service will read the data from my laptop, this CSV file. Okay. And then it will load the data into the Power Query editor on cloud. Just wait for some time. In case of any connection, it will not open. But remember one more thing. For example, if you want to read any file from your local server to the cloud, there is something called gateway. Power BI gateway should get installed on your system. And then only, look here, it is asking the username, password here, right? It says the connection, invalid credentials, India, everything. Okay, authentication kind, Windows, and here, 1 second, let me, even I forgot my, 1 second here, I just check my log. Welcome, okay, welcome. My username is welcome, but you need to have the admin password. Sorry, you need to specify some password here, okay? And here I need to specify the username is sorry, yeah, welcome, right? Yeah. Okay, domain and alias. Okay, what I will do is I'll just go to my desktop. I need to specify your desktop name, File Explorer. How do you find out your laptop name? Click on this PC, right click on it and properties. If you go here, for this item by or not desktop, this PC, it should be available here. Sorry, this PC here, okay, and here, click on it here. So this is what my laptop desktop iPhone 8K BBDN3. Okay, what I will do is I'll just go here, and here I'm going to say desktop iPhone. I just go back here 8K BBDN3 iPhone sorry iPhone 8K BBDN3. Okay, and then the password of my laptop. Okay, so here I used admin. Okay, let me be there. Okay, you cannot access my laptop. Okay, a desktop iPhone 8K BBDN3 and password is admin. And this is how. So initially it will throw an error, but make sure that you specify all the detail here and hit the next button. Let's see what happens. The Power BI Cloud Service will try to access this file via this information. Okay, it need this many number. Again, I'm getting the same issue. 1 second, I'm going to do this one. Okay, try again. I'm getting the same issue, and what I am going to do is I'm going to select this one, folder connector. Yeah, here I already mentioned it here. The connection name is 3, right? So the edit connection. Windows, here the desktop 8K BBDN3, and then password is admin, and I'm going to hit OK. Invalid connection. Session ID region India. Okay. Or else, okay, let it be there. Create new connection. Okay, create new connection. And in this case, I'm going to say admin everything. And create new connection mentioned. Data gateways, folder connector string, none. We'll say, none and all. Data gateway, you cannot be none. Folder connector string, something like that. Okay. And here, create new connection, correct. And then Windows data gateway on premises, folder open none, and here authentication kind none. Okay, so or else we'll use the upload file or does not have sufficient license for OneDrive. Okay, I don't have OneDrive license. This is path or URL. Okay, edit connection, authentication kind. See here, I did not specify the username, right? That is the reason why. Make sure that you are specifying the username. I just type the desktop name and we'll click on the next button now. And this time it should work because it takes longer time. It's trying to access my laptop agcsales.csv file with this credentials, username and password. Now we are successful. I'm going to save it for the time being. And okay, and here you can see that data, right? So now this data got read from my laptop. This data got loaded onto your Power BI cloud service from my laptop. Okay, and we can see the same issues, right? USS and Germany. Instead of having Germany only one record, right? So similar value here, GEG. Here we see a conflicting value, G or inconsistent values. Okay, so now here I'm going to click on the transform data. So now what you see is the Power Query Editor on cloud. Okay, and here go to the transform, the same as your Power BI desktop, group by. You can click on the group by, country ID, same thing. But here you will find an additional thing called use fuzzy grouping. Okay, new column name is, let's say total sales. And here I'm going to use some function. Column is sales. Okay, only one is enough. And if I don't use this one, what will happen? I just hit OK. all the US related record will get grouped, but it will ignore the USS, right? The USS will become a separate group. All the US related records will look at the same issue. So how we are going to address this issue? Can I replace the value? Instead of replacing the values, you look here next to the grouped step. I'm going to click on the wheel icon to open, and this time I'm going to enable the use fuzzy grouping. This option is available only on cloud, okay, not in your Power BI desktop. Here I'm going to set the similarity threshold. So when you increase the threshold value, what will happen is the US and USS will still be considered as a different values. And here I'm going to reduce the threshold value, which means the country ID column, if you find the values somewhat similar, US and USS are somewhat similar, you can group that one also together. Okay, it's something like, somewhat similar. But if you slide this towards the right side and if you increase the threshold value, what, exact match. You remember in the Excel and Word document, when you try to search some word, you use Control F. It will open up some dialog box. There you have some exact match or somewhat similar to that, right? So it is, if you increase the threshold, it will be exact match. I'm going to say, hey, relax, man, cool down. If you find any record that are having values somewhat similar to USS or US, you group them together, okay? So in ignore case also option available. And if you scroll on group by combining text parts, okay, show similarities. So that is not required. This is very expensive operation that is not required. I'm going to hit okay now. Let us see what happens. This time I did not replace the USS by US. I did not make, look here, still it is doing perfect job. This time we don't see two different records, US and USS. Even though the value stored in country ID as USS, it combined the USS also, that record also along with US. How it was possible? Because the similarity threshold, I reduced the threshold value. But one thing you need to keep in mind when you work with the real-time data, if you reduce the threshold value too less, also a problem. It will group unnecessary values, okay, irrelevant values. You need to be bit cautious, okay. And if you set the threshold very high value, also problem, very low value, also problem. You need to specify some optimal value in between, okay. How do I know the optimal value? Trial and error only, okay. Look here now, the Germany G related record got grouped with GR itself. To verify that, you just go here and click on the source and look here GR, right? And GR and G, but this time G got combined with GR. 20 plus 60 is 80. And now let us scroll down and the last the step was group. Click on this. Sorry, 5.3, it's sales, right? We are supposed to see the, not the quantity, sales column. In the sales column, if you see 12,000 and 41,000, 53 and dot, right? 53 and dot. And if you click on the group, 53 and dot, yes, did the perfect job. So this is what fuzzy grouping is all about. It uses in this case we defined a threshold value, similarity threshold value. So this one we can specify it anywhere between the 0 and 1. What this threshold does is it determines how similar two values must be considered as a group, okay. But it uses some the machine learning algorithm. We have something. It uses some distance metric, using which it calculates the distance between the text values. Okay, and then it combines them together. It is expensive process. There is a trade-off here. Okay, though, because it has to find the distance between one value to another value and all. Okay, it has to find out the distance, everything. It uses some Euclidean distance also. Okay, in the algorithm uses something. It uses that kind of algorithm. That is what I'm explaining, Sagar. GR, so it uses some algorithm. Okay, the machine learning algorithm. Okay, with that algorithm, it uses this one, okay? It combine all the things, the relevant values, okay? It's something like your Excel and Word document when you do exact search and like anything like, how comfortable are you with SQL queries? Your like operation, right? Like percentage, something like that. If you give anything which starts with US, that will be considered as US only, okay? Something like that, okay? It's kind of a like operator in SQL query if you worked with SQL queries, okay? Yeah, yes, Sagar, okay. And yes, Swarna has a question. So what algorithm is used? Can you explain that? Okay. See, that is related to machine learning algorithm. It uses some distance metric, okay? So Jaccard, there is something called Jaccard similarity. Do you know what is Jaccard similarity? So what it does is between two sets, as the sets of their intersection divided by the size of their union. Okay, it uses something like that. Okay, it uses it is often used for token-based matching, and here it uses something called Jaccard similarity. If you remember this, that is enough. Okay, no one will ask you, but if they ask you Jaccard J, this is Jaccard. Okay, Jaccard similarity. It uses this similarity. Okay, this is the algorithm is used. Okay. So what this algorithm does is, so this is a kind of a metric, okay? It calculates the similarity between two sets as the size of their intersection divided by the size of their union, okay? Size of their intersection divided by the size of their union, okay? That is what this one is doing it, the Jaccard similarity, okay? So this is kind of your machine learning algorithm. Likewise, a different distance metrics. So this is also one kind of distance metric, Jaccard similarity. You have something Jarrow-Winkler distance, Levenstein distance metrics also available. This is called this is used for fuzzy group matching. Fuzzy group matching is somewhat similar words. You can group it together. Don't literally go by US, US, US. If any value which is somewhat similar to US, right? USS, okay, fine. USS also somewhat similar to US. Hence, you group that value. But based on the similarity threshold, whatever we specify. Too less similarity value, too high similarity value also causes problem. Hence, make sure that you are giving some optimal value. In our example, I have given the 0.73 or so, right? Randomly, I have given it. Okay. So it does the perfect job. So what is the advantage of using fuzzy grouping? Supposing you have something like USS here, and you have small u, and small s. Okay. So uppercase, lowercase, you can ignore the case. You remember in the fuzzy grouping, we have another option called ignore case. And see, not only USS, some cases they would have used capital, uppercase, and some case, same value they use in lowercase. Since it is case sensitive, it will simply consider all the uppercase separate group, lowercase separate group, even though these two values are same. Ignore case if you give, will consider. That is also part of your fuzzy grouping. And apart from this, anything somewhat similar to the US, right? US is somewhat similar to US. Okay, group them together at this level. If you remember, this is more than sufficient. Okay, you just tell them, it uses something like Jaccard similarity metric, using which distance metric, using which it combines the similar values, even though there are some data inconsistency. The advantage here is, yeah, so the advantage is here is you have millions and millions of record due to oversight. You might be asking this question. Simply, I can replace the values like Swarna asked, right? I can simply replace USS by US. But if there are millions and millions of records, you need to scroll down, 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 down and see it, you will lose patience, right? You might tend to miss certain values by replacing it. In that kind of situation, it will not show the accurate value. Better you leave it with the fuzzy grouping, fuzzy group matching. It takes care of it automatically, right? But it is an expensive process. It has to compute the metric for each and every record. See, it will find out the distance between these two values. and these two value and these two value. Likewise, if you have 1 million record, each value will be compared with, each value will be matched with 1 million records almost. It's a time-taking process. But end of the day, accuracy matters. You leave it with this, and then you can go ahead and do that. Okay. But if you have less number of records, reasonably less number, if you are able to figure it out, yes, I'm going to replace the USS by US and GE by GER. Okay, fine. You can do it. But if you have huge volume of data, due to oversight, how many number of values you will replace it, right? If you have too many inconsistency values are there, then you might tend to miss certain things. It will show in the, but that's what I said, trade-off. Trade-off is something like, there is a performance issue, let it be there, but for me, the quality is important. The accuracy is important, okay? Or if you think, no, accuracy is okay, and I just want to see, in that case, you simply go ahead and replace it manually. Again, if you have huge volume of data, replacing the values is a painful thing. Somewhere they mention US, USS, and some other branch people, they mention USC, right? You will get confused. And in that kind of situation, better you leave it with the Jacquard algorithm or the similarity threshold. It takes care of fuzzy grouping, okay? It takes care of it automatically. So hope you understood what is group by, how to perform group by in a single column, how to perform group by based on the combination of columns, more than one column. And what is fuzzy group matching also we have seen it. In the Power BI cloud service, only you can do the fuzzy grouping as of today. Okay. Maybe in the future, they may include the fuzzy group matching in the Power BI desktop cell. You want to see the same in SQL? Yeah, SQL, we will see it later. When I'm going to, don't worry, I'll explain the SQL, everything in detail, step by step, okay? We will have a separate session after the Power BI session is over, okay? Okay, what is the next thing? Next thing is your, that time we will take it, because if I cover in between, right, you will get confused, okay? Okay, next one is group by. You remember group by, I tried how to connect to SQL Server, right? I showed you one example. Okay, anyhow, don't worry. We have a dedicated session for that. That time we'll discuss it in detail, okay? And next one is the query parameter.